Here are your solutions to 3-8, the letter problems. We'll start with letter A. We have two equations, y equals x plus 4 and also y equals 2. So the first thing we can do is recognize that since y equals both this and this, we can set x plus 4 equal to 2 because they're both the same thing. They're both y. So now we have a very easily solved equation here. We can subtract 4 from both sides of the equation, and we end up with a zero pair here, and we have x equals 2 minus 4, and that would be negative 2. So the first thing we're going to do is put negative 2 here for our coordinate. So now we have x equals negative 2, so we're going to put it in this equation here when we have y equals negative 2 plus 4. So we have negative 2 plus 4 would be y equals 2. So our second coordinate is 2. So that is our solution to letter A, negative 2, positive 2. Now let's take a look at B. In this case, we have y equaling x minus 6 and also 3x. So we can make the equation 3x equals x minus 6. These two things here. And we can recognize that we have a variable on both sides, so we're going to subtract x from both sides of the equation with 2x equals, this is a zero pair, so negative 6, divide both sides by 2, and we have x equals negative 3. So our first coordinate is negative 3. Now we can put negative 3 into either equation. Obviously, it'll be really easy to put it in the second equation here. So we have y equals 3 times our x, which is negative 3 right here. 3 times negative 3, we have y equals negative 9. So we have the solution of negative 9. And so our coordinates are negative 3, negative 9 for letter B. Letter C, we have an equation where we have y set equal to 2x plus 1. Therefore, we can take that value and plug it in here for y. So let's move up here where we have a little bit of room. So we have 3x from right here plus 4 times the quantity 2x plus 1. 2x plus 1 equals 26. So let's review. All we did is we took the 2x plus 1 right here and we plugged it into this equation where we have y. So we have 3x plus 4 times 2x plus 1 equals 26. Now all we need to do is distribute the 4 over both of these terms. So we have 3x plus 4 times 2x is 8x plus 4 times 1 is 4, and all of that equals 26. So the next thing we want to do is subtract 4 from both sides, so we don't have constant on both sides. This is a zero pair, so now we have 3x plus 8x equals 26 minus 4 is 22. 3x and 8x is obviously 11x equals 22. So now it's a matter of dividing both sides by 11. And we have x equals 22 divided by 11 is 2. So our first coordinate is going to be 2. So we've calculated x to be 2. So now we can go back to our original equations. Remember that x equals 2 because we're going to record that again. So we have x equals 2. So we're going to we could either put x in here or 2 in here for x, or we could put it in here. And obviously this would be the easier equation to put it into. So we're going to do y equals 2 times our x quantity, which is also 2, and then plus 1. That was this equation right here. We just plugged in the x value. So we have y equals 4 plus 1, y equals 5. So our solution here is 2, 5. Now let's take a look at letter D. Again, we have y equals this value here, so we can take that value and plug it into this equation. So we're going to write this equation substituting 6x minus 4 for the y. So we have 2x plus 5 times y, and we're going to use this value for y, 6x minus 4, and that equals 44. So we have 2x plus, distributing the 5 over the 6x and over the negative 4. 5 times 6x is 30x. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20, so we're going to subtract 20, equals 44. And again, we're going to add 20 to this, and we're going to add 20 over here. So we have the constant only on one side. We have a 0 pair here, so we've got equals 64 here. And we have 2x and 30x, so that would be 32x. Did two steps at the same time here. We added 20 to both sides here, and we combined like terms of 2x and 30x here. So we have 32x equals 64. We're going to divide both sides by 32, and we have x equals 2. So again, remember, x equals 2, so we have our first coordinate of 2. Since x equals 2, we can either put it in this equation and solve for y, or we can put it into this one. And obviously, it makes much more sense to use this equation, so we're going to have y equals 6 times our x value of 2 minus 4. So we have y equals, it's a 4 here, 12 minus 4. We have y equals 8. So we have a solution of 2, 8. Let's take a look at letter E. We have two statements here. Mr. Thomas cooked 45 hamburgers and hot dogs at a cookout. So we have hamburgers and hot dog. I'm going to let hamburgers equal x, and I'm going to let hot dogs equal y. So our first thing, we are supposed to write a system of equations to represent the situation, which means we need to come up with two separate equations. Our first equation is Mr. Thomas cooked 45 hamburgers and hot dogs at a cookout. So our first equation, if we just think of this, Mr. Thomas cooked 45 hamburgers and hot dogs at a cookout. So in other words, we have x plus y equals 45. Hamburgers and hot dogs together is 45. Then also they say he cooked twice as many hot dogs as hamburgers. So twice as many hot dogs would be y is hot dogs equals 2 times the hamburgers. Twice as many hot dogs as hamburgers. So y, hot dogs, would equal 2 times the hamburgers. So we have y equals 2x. Now we have two equations. We can take 2x and put it in here for y. So we would have x plus 2x equals 45, because 2x represents our y. So now we have x plus 2x is obviously 3x equals 45, and then we can divide both sides by 3, and we obviously have x equals 15. So we have a solution there. Now we can go back to this equation here, this one. We had x, so that's 15 plus y equals 45. Subtract 15 from both sides of that equation, and we have y equal to 30. So we have y equals 30 and x equals 15. So we solved it. We have a coordinate pair of 15, 30 as our coordinates. But now it says solve the system algebraically. We did that. We wrote the system of equations. We had the two equations, x plus y equals 45 and y equals 2x are our two equations. And now what we need to do is interpret the solution. And the interpretation is really quite simple. Go back to our original designation. We said let x equal hamburgers. So we have 15 hamburgers. I'm going to abbreviate here. And we said let y equal hot dogs, so obviously he's cooked 30 hot dogs. 15 hamburgers and 30 hot dogs. And that fits our original statements where he cooked 45 things. That's 15 plus 30, and he cooked twice as many hot dogs, 30, as hamburgers, 15. We have a proper solution, and that is both E and F. Please press pause and do guided practice.